The secret behind Kiwis win is now part of racing folklore. Good evening, I'm Warwick Moss. They appear out of nowhere, strange, unexplained shapes carved in fields around the world. Monstrous, symmetrical patterns etched on desolate landscapes. They're called crop circles, and no one knows how or why they appear. Incredibly enough, between May and August last year, more than 130 of these bizarre shapes appeared in Britain alone. Crop circles have been filmed and photographed in the past, but no one has ever heard the mysterious sounds they make until tonight. Scientists are baffled at the noises recorded deep in the Australian outback. You can see them. You can even touch them. They've been appearing in England for almost a century, but no one has been able to explain them. Swirling circles, intricate geometric designs on a grand scale that cut a swathe through vast areas of cropland. Theories abound: meteorological forces, messages from out of space, a man-made hoax. All have been investigated, but the mystery of the crop circles remains as unfathomable as ever. And now, from outback Australia, another clue in this intriguing puzzle. These sounds were recorded in the very centre of one Australian crop circle, far from cities and from civilization. This is the first time they've been broadcast anywhere in the world. And even though the experts have played them over and over, fed them through computer after computer, analysed them and re-analysed them, the secret of these sounds has never been unlocked.
The difference between England and Australia is that our areas are totally remote.
John Ockertell, a commercial airline pilot, is one of Australia's leading researchers in this highly specialised field. He's seen the circles, heard the sounds, and investigated them thoroughly.
The main patterns we get in Australia are basically a complete flattening of the ring. In other words, the whole central process, the whole ring is completely flattened in either an anti-clockwise circle or a clockwise circle. Also, you'll find a star pattern. You'll have a large one in the centre, and to the outside extremes you'll have 4 small ones. So there's symmetry involved.
John Ockertell is no newcomer to this research. He's been there since the beginning. The first circle was discovered in Australia in 1940. In the last 50 years or so, hundreds of crop circles have appeared in Australia, all of them in this remote 10,000 square kilometre area around the borders of New South Wales, South Australia and Victoria. Out here it's hot, it's dry, it's wheat country, right in the middle of nowhere. Just over that way is what they call the big desert wilderness. The nearest real town is 2 hours that way. This part of Australia is known as Sunset Country because of the red sandy soil. The white man found it hard to tame, but Aboriginal tribes have roamed here for 40,000 years. It's a land of legends and mystery, none more intriguing than the mystery of the crop circles. It's a mystery that crept into the lives of Rex and Nance Jolly in 1989. They're no-nonsense, hard-working country folk who have worked on the land all their lives. In the summer of '89, all their gambles and their toil was about to pay off. As far as the eye could see was the season's bumper wheat crop, ready for the harvest to begin.
When we hired the contractors to come in to strip our wheat, they'd stripped quite a few acres, and then this morning they were sailing along down a rise and they could see ahead of them these things that they'd never seen before.
Those things the contractor saw from his harvester were strange circles, perfect shapes, imprinted on the wheat fields. His first reaction was to call Nansen Rex.
He just said, "You've got to do something about this. It's once in a lifetime you'd see something like this." But we were amazed and didn't know what to do. We didn't know what we were looking at.
When they regained their composure, the first thing the Jollies did was take these photographs. The second was contact the expert, John Ockertell, who set off immediately for Sunset Country.
What we discovered was 11 rings. They were in a half-moon shape. The largest were at the top of the ridge, away from the homestead. And as you work closer towards the homestead and the fence, the rings got consequently smaller.
John Ockertell found that the wheat itself was not damaged in any way. The stalks were not broken, just bent at the base. Somehow, they'd been woven into an intricate pattern, something like a straw basket. As for the soil around the circles, it was sandy and soft as normal. But inside the circles, the soil was very different indeed. It was as hard as a rock. It was tough work taking soil samples. In fact, they had to use a crowbar to prise them free. The samples were sent off to Monash University in Melbourne for analysis. At first, the results did not look that promising. The soil was unusually high in iron oxide, but it didn't contain any strange elements. Then the researchers found a clue that sent them back to their computers for another look.
What we found was there was very little bacterial life, which is very unusual in soil. In the ring section, in the normal soil, there's a lot of normal bacterial life.
And there was more. The university computers revealed that there was an unexplained magnetic charge emanating from one corner of the farm, right where the circles had formed. Armed with this new information, John Ockertell headed back to the Jollies wheat field. He pinpointed the exact spot and began a new series of tests.
What we found was a ring. It looks like a coiled snake with a bit of a head on it, and it was very magnetised to the extent where if you ran a normal compass, which is very unusual, over it, it would swing the compass needle.
To this day, John Ockertell can't explain that magnetic charge. It, like the crop circles, remains a mystery. But there was to be one further piece of evidence that would prove even more mysterious. Another local farmer had noticed his sheep refused to go anywhere near one of the circles. And when he went to investigate, he heard a strange noise. A noise that literally made him sick. That farmer had the presence of mind to record the sound. What he captured on tape was this. The sound we played you earlier.
We then got that tape and when it had analysed, and what they did, they scrubbed all the machine noises and the noises on the tape, and they discovered there's a frequency of 5.12 kilohertz.
When John Ockertell studied the computer breakdown of the sound, there was another surprise, another discovery. The sound reminded him of one recorded by a BBC television crew while they were filming at the site of a crop circle in England.
A BBC crew attached a radio microphone to Pat Delgado. As he walked in the circle, it picked up mysterious sounds.
No, it's here. That's a terrible noise, just as you stand in the centre.
You getting a noise there, Richard?
Very, very bad indeed.
Yeah, I can hear it here. I can feel it here.
This is our old friend back.
It is. Yeah.
Is it a pulsar?
It's like
I think it's about here.
an electronic sparrow, really, is the best description.
That's it.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. This is the same noises we're having analysed at Sussex now.
Just in the centre of the circle.
Now, the funny thing is that our sound is in the same range as the one that was discovered in England. So it's maybe very important.
But there's more to the Sunset Country mystery than strange, unexplained noises and circles that appear out of nowhere. It happened on a night just like this, 15 years ago. The sky was still and crystal clear. As usual, Eric Wilson and his two daughters were relaxing in front of the TV after a hard day's work in the farm. Their peace was about to be disturbed.
The dog started to make a very peculiar whining and howling noise. It was, well, I hadn't heard before, and I haven't heard it since, actually. I came outside to investigate what the problem was and saw this light above, over the dam.
Bill, come and look at this.
Eric's daughter, Jeanette, recalls that this blinding light shone over the farm for a minute or two.
We could see this object hovering in the sky with a flashing light on the top and a dome across the other side of the dam bank.
Then, just as suddenly as the light and the object appeared, they simply disappeared. The Wilson family reported the sighting to the police, who did make some inquiries. It wasn't the first, nor the last such sighting in Sunset Country. So, is there a link between the lights and the circles? Some say it's just too much of a coincidence. There has to be a connection. But in the realms of science, there's no such speculation. Even though most down-to-earth theories, too, have been discounted. They've said no to vortex wind drafts and whirlwinds because the wheat plants have not been damaged in any way. No to plasma balls and fireballs because there's no evidence of charring or burning. And no to animals because there have never been tracks leading to or from the circles. So, maybe there's only one way left to end the guessing game.
We're hoping in the future. We've got equipment up there at the moment, and last year, for instance, we had equipment available where we were hoping to see one formed or see the process. Once we get to see the process occurring, then we may be able to put a theory to it.
Until that day, one thing is a scientific certainty. Crop circles do exist. They have appeared in many countries: England, the United States, Canada, and Australia. The only problem is, we still don't know who or what is creating them.